Martha Dean. I'm running for Connecticut Attorney General. And in 2002, I was the Republican nominee, and in that race had the strongest showing of any Republican Attorney General candidate against the current Attorney General, Mr. Blumenthal. And in that race, we not only got the Republican base, but I was able to motivate and inspire 50,000 additional voters who were not Republicans, who had felt that they had not had a candidate who they wanted to vote for before in Connecticut, to come and vote in that race. And those 50,000 people hadn't shown up before to vote in the Attorney General's race, and they haven't shown up since. So there was something that we represented, that I represented, and my team, people represented in 2002 that the voters liked. We're going to do that this year many times over because Connecticut voters are ready for integrity in office. They're ready to steer this state back in the direction of freedom, prosperity, competitiveness. So that's what my platform is all about. I'm a 22-year lawyer with 22 years of active legal practice in Connecticut. That's corporate law, securities law, environmental law, and I also have a niche practice of defending shooting ranges, and we've won some great cases in federal and state court doing that. I've also represented consumers and property owners, consumers all the way up to the Supreme Court in a serious pesticide case that the Attorney General's office supported us in. And so I've worked with that office closely, both in enforcement defense cases and also on the side of consumers and property owners. I come from a family of entrepreneurs and inventors. I grew up in Norwich, Vermont, and I've been in Connecticut since 1980, I believe. And I went to UConn Law School, Law Review, Wellesley College, Phillips Academy, Andover. And what I learned from my unique family up in Vermont, my father taught at MIT and then at Dartmouth Engineering, was that you don't give a man a fish, you teach him how to fish. And my parents truly lived that. And they taught us to do the same. So when I was 6 and I wanted a horse, my parents said, nope, we're not going to have spoiled kids in our family. We have 5 kids, but we'll teach you. My father said, I'll teach you how to get a horse for yourself. And this is what we need to teach America. I did what my father said. I went out and got a shovel, shoveled snow, mowed lawns with a push mower, babysat, and by the time I was age 11, I had $550, enough to buy that horse. The first day I rode it, it bucked me off and compressed 3 vertebrae. I was paralyzed from the neck down. And my father, when he came back from a trip, said to my mother over my hospital bed, we're selling the horse. And my mother said, no, dear, you don't understand. You told her that she had to buy it for herself, and now it's hers to decide whether she keeps or sells it. So my mother understood more about property rights then than most of our elected officials do today. And the people of New London, Connecticut know that better than anyone. They had their properties taken, private property taken and given to a private developer. This has to stop. Eminent domain abuse has no place in Connecticut, and we're going to get that law changed. But my platform is built on the 3 pillars that have always been at the very foundation of every free and prosperous and competitive and great society, America being the first and the greatest of all those societies. And those 3 pillars are freedom, faith, and fortune. And let me just tell you a little bit about what I mean. Freedom means freedom from oppressive and excessive and burdensome and complex and, from a constitutional perspective, unjustified regulations, laws, mandates. It means stopping eminent domain abuse. It means it means recognizing the rights and upholding and protecting the rights under the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Ninth Amendment, the 10th Amendment, and all the other amendments in the federal and state constitutions. And we really need an Attorney General who is focused on the people's constitutional rights. You know, it's the 10th Amendment right now that is being used by 19 or 20 states to challenge Obamacare. And I would support that because our Constitution says that the rights that we don't give to the federal government are reserved for the states, and ultimately, if we don't give them to the states, they're held by the people. And we need elected officials who recognize and uphold the importance of that amendment. So what faith means as a pillar is that as a public official, I need to show recognition for and appreciation of these essential truths, that our rights came from our Creator, our inalienable rights came from our Creator, and that they did not come from government, and that to be legitimate, government can never take them away. And that was a radical concept at the time that our country was created. Until then, rights had come from kings, they'd come from governments, but never before had a society said the people hold their rights all on their own, and government can't take them away. But what that means is that as Attorney General, I will always show recognition of the fact that much of what is best and of the greatest enduring value in our society arose from and was built on our Judeo-Christian tradition. And that tradition teaches tolerance for others. It allows other faiths to come to our country and disagree with us, or people of no faith to come here and live freely. And we must never forget that our freedom is based on that tradition. So as Attorney General, I will make it my top priority to teach education officials, other elected officials, and the public at large that separation of church and state does not mean, and has never meant, read the Supreme Court cases, that we must take prayer out of public ceremonies, or that we have to take God off of money, or that we have to take God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, or that we must take Christmas trees out of public centers. It's simply not so, and we need to teach our elected officials that so that they uphold our rights. Now, the third pillar of every free and great competitive society is fortune. And I mean fortune. I don't mean prosperity. Prosperity is the goal. Fortune is how you get there. And as Americans, we've always understood this. And what that means is that when we have a president who's teaching the country that you take some people's money and you sort of spread the wealth around and that's going to make us prosperous, which is absolutely false. We need to reteach the people in this country that fortune is how you get to prosperity, and fortune means, as a pillar, that we must, in government, recognize and protect the right of individuals to personally reap the financial reward of their efforts, their ingenuity, their innovativeness, and that the laws, the government, through the legal system, must uphold and support in an even-handed way that right. The genius of America is that we have always attracted geniuses, and we've attracted them because we understood what other countries didn't. And what other countries have tried to do to create prosperity by spreading the wealth around has only, our founders knew, and these societies have found out, it only leads to not prosperity, but to poverty. And the reason it leads to poverty is obvious, and that is that the people who generate the wealth get out. And even the most oppressive regimes in the world have found that people will eventually find a way to escape. And traditionally, where they've escaped and come to is America. And that has just redounded to the benefit of all of us. So the minute we do not recognize fortune as a pillar of our freedom and our prosperous society, we are going to lose those people who have chosen to come here. We'll lose them from our state. We're in a very serious predicament in Connecticut where 10,000 businesses have left the state or closed in the past year alone. This is not, as they say, sustainable. And it will truly mean that a few of us are left carrying a very heavy tax burden. When the state of Connecticut's Attorney General sues a company, Pratt & Whitney, to prevent it from leaving the state, we have put up a huge billboard on every border of the state saying, if you're a viable business, do not come here. And if you're in Connecticut and you want to be a viable business, or you are, get out quietly before we sue you too. This has to come to an end. So as Attorney General, I am going to make sure that law enforcement is vigorous, but that it's fair and just, and that it's the minimum necessary to achieve compliance with the laws. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a tough lawyer and litigator, and I believe in law enforcement, but I will not pursue companies on the basis of political considerations, on the basis of media and press conference considerations. All of that has to come to an end. I will also work with the state agencies and with the legislature to make sure that regulations are clear and that excessive and abusive regulations are reduced, streamlined, or eliminated. So I expect to have a strong role with the legislature in stopping unconstitutional laws from being enacted and from raising the issues when they are enacted to the people, so that the people know that they must be eliminated and challenged. And I will work to reduce the size of the Attorney General's office because we, in a time of great financial difficulty, can rely on private firms and private lawyers who are looking for work to enter into contracts with the state to bring the cost of that office down and look to streamline the functions of that office and to make it more financially responsible. But the role of the Attorney General's office in Connecticut should never be what the current Attorney General says, to raise revenue for the state. I mean, this is truly an incredible idea. And the minute you use law enforcement to raise revenue, it is basically extortion, where you're saying to a company, your money or your life, we're going to run you into the ground. And I know that because I'm a lawyer who defends law-abiding businesses, and I earn a lot of money doing it. But it is not sustainable for a business to be in Connecticut and to have to go through years of litigation, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to vindicate themselves and prove that they, in fact, did not violate the law. Businesses simply won't come here. So I will stop that so-called revenue-raising function. It is truly the action of a bank robber, and it must come to an end. So that's what my campaign is all about. I think you will get to know me over the rest of the campaign, and you'll know that I am strong, a person of character and integrity, and I'm willing to do the hard work that lies ahead to turn our country and our state around and bring us back to our founding principles, where people of goodwill and who are willing to work hard and have great ideas can flourish. Thank you very much. I appreciate your vote.